Probably every soccer fan can remember one or another goal that has an extremely high significance for him. But there are also goals that everyone agrees are absolutely legendary and will probably never be scored again. Today's video is exactly about these goals. We'll show you not only the most dramatic last-minute goals that changed the course of soccer history forever, but also curious own goals that went down in history. In addition, we'll present you the physical feats and even the breathtaking stories behind the most talked about goals of all time. It's going to be highly entertaining. So stay tuned here at Wonderlane. At the beginning, we will start right away with probably the most acrobatic goals ever, which require an incredible body control and almost supernatural artistic talent. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, for example, is probably the only player capable of such a goal because of his black belt in Taekwondo. That this is the 500th goal of his career justly makes the moment even more outstanding. Robin van Persie's famous goal from the 2014 World Cup match between the Netherlands and Spain was similarly spectacular, to be precise. Not only did the Dutch take revenge for losing the 2010 World Cup final in this match, but the image of Van Persie hovering in the air for what felt like eternities also immediately went around the world. For the majority, however, there is one goal that puts everything in the shade in terms of spectacle and body control. It's Cristiano Ronaldo's famous overhead kick from Real Madrid's 2018 Champions League match against Juventus. In fact, this goal was so incredibly outstanding that even the biggest Juventus fans stood applauding in the stadium, unable to believe what they had just seen. Next, we come to spectacular goals, which are more emotional than any other. After all, deciding a big game in the final minutes is the greatest thing that can happen to a footballer. The game between Leicester City and Watford FC in 2013, which decided who would go through to the playoffs for promotion to the Premier League, was particularly glaring. In that match, Leicester was ahead the entire time and was even awarded a penalty in the 6th minute of stoppage time. If Anthony Knockaert had converted it, Leicester would definitely have been promoted. But the Watford goalkeeper parried the ball, and what followed was probably the heaviest counterattack of all time. Watford still needed a goal to advance. In the next 18 seconds, the incredible happened. A similarly dramatic goal, but one that decided much more, was scored in the 2010 World Cup final by Andres Iniesta, who in the 116th minute made Spain the World Cup champions for the first time. However, this was not the first time Iniesta scored a world-famous last-minute goal. A year earlier, in the Champions League semi-finals, he shot FC Barcelona into the final against Chelsea shortly before the end. Chelsea FC had to wait 3 years after that to finally get their revenge. Also in the Champions League semi-finals, they needed a goal at any cost shortly before the end to knock Barca out of the tournament. In the 90th minute, Fernando Torres scored and recovered everything that his club had lost 3 years earlier. Let's continue with goals that have shown that the limits of physics are occasionally overridden in soccer. How Roberto Carlos was able to steer that ball around the French wall in 1997 is still a miracle for many today. Hakan Calhanoglu converted a similarly outstanding free kick from over 45 meters against Bayern in his days at Hamburger SV. But the goal with which Toni Kroos made headlines at the beginning of 2020 is particularly glaring. The former German international scored this goal in a match between Real Madrid and Valencia FC. Next, we come to a goal that for many has been a major scandal for over 25 years. In 1994, the islands of Barbados and Grenada played to qualify for the Caribbean Cup. Barbados was leading 1-0, but needed a lead of at least 2 goals to qualify. Since they did not have the confidence to score another goal themselves shortly before the end, they took a highly controversial alternative. They scored a deliberate own goal, only to advance with the help of extra time via the golden goal rule, which in this special case would have meant a 2-goal lead on paper. The fact that they conceded a goal only to score the golden goal in extra time is still considered extremely unsportsmanlike by many today and drew worldwide criticism at the time. Let's continue with 2 goals that were scored officially, but in reality should never have counted. On the one hand, this throw-in, which went into the generic goal without another touch, should never have been recognized, and on the other hand, there was probably the most bizarre Bundesliga goal of all time in 2013. And that's because it wasn't actually a goal at all. When former Leverkusen striker Stefan Kiesling unfortunately hit the outside of the net in a match against Hoffenheim, everyone rubbed their eyes in confusion because the ball was still in the goal. The referee allowed the goal, but afterwards it turned out that there was a hole in the net. Through this hole, the ball could enter the goal from the outside, which was heavily discussed afterwards. The phantom goal, as it was officially called afterwards, even went to court, as there had never been a similar case before or since. Let's continue with goals that are extremely rare, but even more special: indirect free kicks. To receive an indirect free kick, the goalkeeper of the opposing team must pick up a back pass with his hand. If he does so, the other team gets a free kick in the penalty area, where a pass must be made before the actual goal is scored. But since the wall is completely on the goal line due to the close distance, it is extremely difficult to convert such a free kick. Some teams, however, approach the execution very creatively. There are also cases when stars like Cristiano Ronaldo effortlessly convert such free kicks. The most famous indirect free kick of all time, which was taken by former Bayern player Patrick Anderson in 2001. On the last match day of the Bundesliga season, FC Bayern was trailing 1-0 against HSV. At the same time, Schalke 04 had just won its match against Unterhaching and was ahead of Bayern in the standings for a few minutes, becoming German champions for the first time. Anderson, of course, converted the last-minute free kick superbly, which is why not only was the whole of Schalke in tears, but FC Bayern also became champions once again. Before we get to goals in the grand final that not only kept the world on its toes but also showed how blatantly some players can humiliate others with their class, here are a few more goals that of course can't be missing from this list. Among them, of course, is the famous Wembley goal from the 1966 World Cup final between England and Germany. Many people forget that 54 years later there was a similar event. In the 2010 World Cup round of 16 between Germany and England, Frank Lampard also hit the bottom of the crossbar from over 20 meters. Only this time, the ball came up clear and well behind the line. This goal, nevertheless, was not awarded. Other goals that must not be missed here are, of course, the world-famous overhead kick by Zlatan Ibrahimovic or the winning goal by Mario Götze from the 2014 World Cup final against Argentina. When talking about legendary goals, you can't forget him here. In any case, it is Diego Maradona. He scored not only the famous Hand of God in the 1986 World Cup match against England, in other words a goal in which he used his hand without permission but unnoticed on the spot, but also what many still consider to be the best goal of all time. To conclude this video, we now come to two goals, one of which is outstanding and humiliating at the same time, and the other is simply humiliating. This goal, for many, is simply disrespectful. This goal, for everybody, is just legendary to this day. Jerome Boateng has to put up with jokes about how Lionel Messi made him fall over seemingly without effort. The fact that he then lobs the ball over Manuel Neuer, perhaps the best goalkeeper of our time, is proof for many that this is the best footballer of all time. And whether Messi or Ronaldo is better. In any case, a video about spectacular goals would be anything but complete without Lionel Messi. And that's it for our video and the most incredible goals in soccer history. Write us in the comments which goal we might have forgotten and if we should make a sequel soon. Otherwise, like this video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time here at Wonderlane.